We are in a crisis mode in American schools.
Sometimes we just need a break. And I don't feel guilty about giving my kids an iPad.
The amount of audacity these children have today.
How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Aiden, and welcome back to the channel. Gen Alpha, the first generation that's truly one with the brain rot. Raised entirely on iPads and smartphones because mommy and daddy were just too busy to teach their kids how to navigate the world gracefully. Now, teachers are finding out that the responsibility of instilling these little gremlins with morals and values has fallen onto them, and they ain't having it. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Okay, this is becoming a genuinely concerning issue. As a substitute teacher, I am encountering a really concerning number of students who truly do not see any value in learning because, as one of the 4th and 5th graders that I was teaching the other day asked me, why do I need to know any of this if a computer or AI can do it for me? A little girl didn't want to learn how to read because why would she need to when she could have the computer read it to her? Why would she need to know how to count when she could just take a picture of her math problem and have the AI do it for her? This is a legitimate issue because if for whatever reason we lose the ability to have access to these things, we have an entire generation of kids who's going to be entirely helpless without the internet, and that is not okay. If you as a parent are encouraging this behavior and allowing your child to use AI for everything, you have a problem and you need to be teaching them otherwise.
I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are... I'm going to just say this. I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level. Nobody talking about how they just keep moving, passing them on. I can put as many zeros in this grade book as I want to. They're going to move that child to the 8th grade next year. Why don't y'all know that y'all kids not performing on their grade level? Because y'all be quick to talk about, oh, the teacher this, but show y'all, baby. I just got here 30 days ago. She was performing on the 4th grade level since 4th grade. We in 7th grade now, so you let this child go 3 years and you never knew. I can probably count on one hand how many kids are actually performing on their grade level. Are you joking right now? And these are future leaders, our future doctors, our future nurses, our future... Please.
Okay, so there's now been actual studies shown that, the brain rot of the Skibidi toilets and all that shit is actually affecting Gen Alpha's IQ. The Flynn effect basically states that every generation after the previous one, the average IQ will increase. From millennials to Gen Z, it was about a 35-point increase in IQ. However, comparing Gen Z to Gen Alpha, they're calling it the reverse Flynn effect. The average IQ of a Gen Alpha compared to Gen Z is anywhere from 40 to 60 points lower than Gen Z. That means that the IQ of Gen Alpha is completely screwed, and they've basically reached the point where they're intellectually disabled. That's not an exaggeration at all. A decrease of 40 to 60 puts them in the high 90s to mid 80s. That makes them intellectually disabled.
We are seeing the first-hand effects of kids who are raised with entirely unfettered internet access. No basic comprehension skills, no attention span, they have trouble communicating, they can't sit still, and they can't stay focused. I mean, there's always going to be a few kids in every classroom that have a hard time keeping up with the rest. But when it's the majority that's struggling, it can only mean that there's a serious underlying issue that's not being addressed.
How are teachers doing it? I just want to know how they're doing it. I work as a permanent sub at a middle school. Today was the hardest day I've had, so I was in the class assisting another teacher. And this person had absolutely no control over these 6th graders. These students were throwing things, hitting each other, singing random songs out loud. They were walking across the room, over the desks, and on the chairs. It was crazy. And the teacher told me that they had given up. They just given up. But the reason why I was so upset was because of an interaction I had with one specific kid. The kid took Febreze off the desk that I was sitting at and started spraying the room, which I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Maybe it stinks to them. And then I was like, okay, that's enough, because he sprayed the whole room. He looks me in my eyes, starts spraying it again. I'm like, knock it off. Eventually, he brings the Febreze back. He sits down, and then he comes back, gets the Febreze in, keeps spraying it. I'm like, stop, give me the Febreze. And he doesn't give it to me, so I have to grab it from him. And he's resisting, he's pulling it, and we're going back and forth. The teacher is not doing anything about it. I'm like, give me the Febreze, or I will write you up and I will get the principal involved. He goes, I don't effing care. And then we again are tug-of-warring this Febreze can, and it snaps in half. That's how defiant and aggressive this kid was towards me. That was the worst behavior I've experienced out of the 800 students in that school in the last 4 months I've worked there. My entire neck was red from anger, and he was laughing at me while it was happening, and the other kids were laughing that it was happening. It was embarrassing. It was frustrating. I'm definitely not going to be a teacher anymore, that's for sure.
I need y'all to get how serious the situation is. Today I have a test. I have students who don't want to show up for the test because they cannot read on grade level and they know the test is going to be hard. Because tests are hard and they can't read on grade level, they're going to engage in problem behaviors. Do you know there's a strong correlation between the level of literacy a person has and behavior problems that they have? When I first got into my education class, the first thing they said that prisons will determine how many beds they need based on third grade reading scores. All because of something that can be easily avoided by working with your children at home to supplement what they're learning in school. Because 50 minutes is not enough time to teach your child a lot of stuff. It has to be reinforced. I got a student, whenever the student has to work, he does not like doing it and he gets frustrated and then he gets mad and then he starts to lash out, and I can't work with him past that point because he does not read on grade level, and I can't give him grade level work because he's so far under grade level. If you are a parent and you have a child in a public school or in a school in general, you have to supplement their education by working with them at home. Yes, you are stressed. Yes, you are tired. Yes, you are working 2 and 3 jobs to survive and put food on the table. We get it. But if you want your child to do the same thing, keep doing the same thing. If you want your child to do different, you have to do different.
I'm gonna tell you all this because your teachers can't, because they'll lose their licenses and their jobs. What are y'all doing with your kids? Your kids can't read. They're not potty trained. They're going into kindergarten, soiling themselves. Kids cannot sit through a movie. Buy them some pencils and paper and have them write. Oh, but you know, sometimes we just need a break. And like, I don't feel guilty about giving my kids an iPad and putting them in front of the TV. What do you think people did before iPads and TVs existed? Your kid doesn't have to be entertained at all times. They need critical thinking skills. Stop doing things for your kids. Make them sit by themselves. Make them play by themselves. You're failing your kids.
This is a parent problem. I was more scared of the consequences at home than I was of the school ones, and I knew for a fact my parents would know before I got home. These kids didn't raise themselves like this. Courtesy, manners, and socially acceptable behavior are meant to be taught at home. It seems like parents are pushing the responsibility onto teachers because they didn't realize how much effort it would actually take to raise a well-adjusted human being. Some people don't have what it takes to raise children, and these videos are clearly evidence.
What are we doing to these kids that they just can't sit there and just be quiet for even 10 minutes at a time? Like, literally, physically cannot be quiet. And it's not just talking that's the problem, just noise in general. It is constant, whether it's this or the tapping or just the random noises that they make all the time. 6, 7. Not only that, they've got the stupid fidget toys that are making noise. Why can you not be quiet?
So today I discovered that a bunch of my students have been using AI to complete my assignments. And I decided to go ahead and address my classes where I was like, listen, I am aware that many of you guys have been using AI on my assignments. If you take accountability and fess up to using AI before I go and get you, okay, the consequences will be significantly less severe. So of course, what happens after school? I have 100 kids outside my door ready to tell me that they used AI on their assignments. However, the last person to admit this to me, okay, literally looked me in my eyes and said, Miss, I didn't even do the assignment. But I know that if I would have done the assignment, I would have used AI. So I wanted to apologize for that. The amount of audacity these children have today.
It feels like teaching an entire generation of weaponized incompetence. Because what do you mean you can't just reread the directions that I strained my voice to read out loud 3 times? What do you mean you can't just look at the rubric that I made that shows you exactly how to get a grade, and I said if you even wrote a few sentences, you could get a 1, which is a D? The security guard stopped by and he was kind of like shocked at how confused the kids were. You were given enough information, notice, and preparation. Now you can just sit down and write anything you want. I even told them if they can't think of anything, they should write once upon a time and then just write whatever. I even told them you can just write what did happen in the story. And I had kids really sit here and do nothing. And then I go, okay, that's it. That's the only time you get. And they looked at me like, huh? If you let them do it online, they 100% cheat. Caught them cheating so many times they don't try that now because that's the only way I give a 0.
Well, folks, that's all I've got for you today. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen. If you'd like to be featured in a future video, leave a comment below. And thanks for watching.